I'm lollygagging. I'll call the meeting to order. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Buddy, that brings us to number 3, discuss disapprove distribution of investment fund.
Correct.
And this was actually for the cost of doing the distribution, having already done the distribution.
Correct. This is a request to receive authorization to do this work for you.
I'll make a motion to authorize the work.
I'll second.
Further discussion? I agree with everything. My question, and vote, but the question I have is, in the event that we going to be easy to get that?
Yes, it'll give you a truer sense of what your actual cash balances are across the funds.
I totally understand.
Yeah.
That, but I mean, if we're going to buy something for that to do it with at some point, whichever fund it came
Well, the way that you can look at it is if you needed to buy a vehicle, whatever, you could pay for it out of the fund that's responsible for it. This is independent of that kind of decision, but this work will let you know what your true cash balances are. So that it's two separate issues.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Alrighty. Number 4, discuss proposed 26 budget. Changes in here. You want to take us through what those?
Yeah, so I would direct you to the budget memo that I wrote. And first of all, I wanted to talk through this general fund balance chart on the first page. And so the blue bars represent what your fund balances are, and the red line represents what your target is. And so you can see in 23, 24, and 25, we've dipped below that. And so what I've done is to try to repair that so that you have sufficient funds on hand for contingencies, is to move some of these levies around. And so on the second page, then you see the box, the chart, that shows compares what your adopted 2025 was, the proposed 2026, and then what the recommended was, what the recommended is. And so what you can see is happening is that, for instance, in the general fund, in order to accommodate this additional $157,000 of new spending, I needed to reallocate some of these levies that were in some of these other funds to the general fund. So for example, instead of the $590,000, it goes up to $945,000. So that switch is twofold. It's to fund the $157,000 budget initiatives. Granted, I understand that, these are not approved, but they're slotted into the budget, okay? And then also an increase in the general fund levy in order to repair that fund balance for the general fund. And so when we walk through this, so what we're looking at is, if we look at the taxes on a median value home, in 2025, it was $587, and then the recommended would be $637, which represents a $49 marginal increase over the 2025 adopted. And then the last line, you can see what the tax rate is. So in this year, it's 15.25, and then the recommended would go up to 16.17. And so what's happened is that that tax rate didn't go up very much because you had a large increase in your tax base. So it went from 11.5 million in tax base to 12.1. So you had a big increase in the in your tax capacity. And so what I would recommend is that after the truth and taxation hearing on December 1st, that you would adopt the 1,970,000. That would be my recommendation. And so what the 1,970,000 does is that it funds the operations, it funds the inflationary increases, it funds these additional budget initiatives, as well as providing additional funding to get your fund balance up to where it needs to be. And so by doing this, the 1,970,000, that should hopefully repair your fund balance to about a 48% level. And so again, the Office of the State Auditor recommends that you have between 35 and 50% of next year's expenditures. And that is because, again, as we all know, you get paid twice a year essentially. So you get your first half property taxes in July. And so we need sufficient cash on hand from December 31st to July, the beginning of July, in order to be able to fund your operations so that we're not running short of cash.
Well, Mr. Mayor, I understand the philosophy, but I'm not increasing the budget 16.17%. I mean,
We're looking at
Correct.
because I was thinking
this one here. That was the total tax capacity. The home residency. The actual increase in the budget.
yeah,
Correct. The tax rate would be 16.17.
yeah, well,
That's different than increasing it. That's a different thing than increasing it.
well, the overall is 12%, what I'm hearing right now.
Correct, yes.
Well, that's still too high. I mean, I was at the last budget meeting. We proposed, I think it was close to 6.5%, because we originally had it at 23%. I understand your numbers, but that is way too high for me. So I'm not in favor of that. I like the proposed levy, maybe increasing the general fund a little bit to maybe make it 7%. Sufficient there, leave everything as we approved, the road and bridge 500, the fire fund 240, capital fire 50, park fund 75, debt service 119.64, special revenue 25. Won't get my vote.
So you talked, just a question, you talked about hiring somebody to shadow Phil in the back to train him in. If we don't do something to put in something for additional staffing, we're not going to be able to do that.
Well, we increased
Realistically, we won't be able to do that.
we increased the general fund quite a bit.
Well, no, we did, but we actually removed dollars from a lot of the other funds.
Yeah.
So,
It-
new things that are added, look at page 3. Left, the new items would be the liquor store feasibility study. There's 36,000. Infrastructure study, 1,000 whatever. Infrastructure design options, that was Rutland for 45. Ordinance codification, 14,000. So since the last time we saw this, all of these were added. I do believe we had thought about, Joan, I had asked, I think you were maybe person or a position reflected anywhere in here?
Yes, it is. So the Public Works Director, when you take the 80,000 salaries and you add the benefits, you always add like at least 30% more. So that's where that 102,000 is coming from. And so all that, that entire 157,000 has been built into the budget that you see, and it's built into that $945,000 levy for the general fund.
And, Mr. Mayor, even if we, taking that public Works Director title out of that. If we intend to hire somebody to shadow with Phil, we don't have the money if we don't put something there. And that 102,000 would make that feasible, correct?
Correct.
I'm just being honest
I
with
know,
you.
and
You said you wanted to hire somebody to shadow Phil. If we don't do that 102,000, we're not gonna have the money to do it. And then we're waiting another year.
But
And Phil could go at any time, and then we're training somebody from scratch without, we don't have any money to put in there unless we put it in this budget.
Well, my proposal was around 25 an hour, so it'd be like 52,000 a year. Little bit less.
Well, it's 52,000, but you, again,
The
you
fee-
add the 30% that Liz just mentioned, it's not 102, but that's getting close to 80,000. It's not that significant.
Benefits.
With benefits, you're adding that position. Somewhere we're adding a position, and we gotta have the funds available to do it.
Yeah, because that, I mean, at 52,000, that would be 25. Definitely,
Yeah,
but now. Security that we have to manage. Health insurance.
Just-
What maybe come
I would just take it times 30%.
in. No, I'm just saying, so, yeah. So,
so this feasibility study,
67, so you're looking at $70,000.
this feasibility study of 35,000, I mean, I think that's way too much money for a feasibility study. I'm not in favor of that, so let's let you know on that portion.
So either we'll know we can do it or we don't. That's what the feasibility study is about. We're not gonna get anybody to do it cheaper or better.
Well, that's a different, well, I have a different, I don't think we need to tell where we're gonna be putting a liquor store. I think we can decide that on our own. And then maybe call other municipalities who have liquor stores and get their take in. That's just my 2 cents. I'm not
I
paying,
think that, well, I think you have people that have done these studies, they have already talked to them. They know all the nuts and bolts of it. Anybody here run a liquor store or know that? And through these other municipalities, they're not gonna give all their information that they paid for to us to do ours. I'm sorry, that's just not.
yeah, and I don't disagree with you, but I think right now, having a liquor store right now is way early in the game. We just became a city a year ago. So,
It's just a study. We're not putting one up. We're just doing the study so we know whether we're ever going to do it or not.
I just think it's way too much.
As a township, we didn't even have the. I think my personal opinion, do their because I know for a fact that if we wanted to, we could go buy a piece of ground on 38. Decide about what size we want. Probably going to probably be close to 2 million or 2.5 million. Built the building, stocked it with hired some people, got them put in there, whatever. Then now we're selling. It could literally be that easy, or not.
And
You know, and so the way I'm going, the reason I'm going that way is because I think at this point in time, $36,000, 35. Have them do that. If there is a reason that they come up with, no, don't do that. I'd rather save that 2.5 million.
and
And if they do come up and say, hey, absolutely, this is a great idea, we agree. Within 2 to 5 years or whatever your return on then that's way easier for me to think about. So I think that's a very wise expenditure.
One of the things is part of this feasibility, they will give us some recommendations on the size that we should put it in and that kind of thing where do we, any of us know how big or how small we should make this? No. The other thing is if we do it now, we get it done, and if they say, no, we shouldn't do it, then the other private parties who want to put in a liquor store, they know that we'll never do it. Right now, we're putting them in a holding pattern, whether we're gonna do it or not. And if we don't get this done, we're in a holding pattern. And
If somebody is already doing an off-sale liquor or whatever, should we decide to do,
we have one vendor that does that, no.
so, and with this, because I know that I have been approached, I don't know how serious it was, but there was a question asked by somebody that would do that. Put up a private liquor store. And I think that if we do, I don't think any time is too soon to figure out ourselves or allow them to do it. Tell them 2 years from now. I would rather be doing a municipal liquor store, not have them get started. Fortune, whatever it is.
Well, I mean, I did vote to have what the feasibility study would come in at, and when it came in at $36,000, I wasn't for it at that point.
I'm just saying that we're putting ourselves in a holding pattern by delaying this, and let's get it done. We've got, it's, you know, $49 in the medium size home. I don't like to raise taxes at all, but that's not significant, to be honest. This is something that, it's a one-time expense. We'll find out whether this is something the city should go on to, or we should say, open it up to Northbound Liquor on, you know, out there, and then they can make it, or we do it ourselves. But if we don't get this done and figure it out, 'cause I don't think we should do it ourselves. I think that's a poor business practice, because none of us have the experience in the liquor business. And starting a new business from scratch, hiring the personnel and that. Jay has, but not in the liquor business. I just don't think that's a good use of our resource, and I think we could very possibly build it too big or build it too small, and that's gonna cost us down in the long run, big time. So,
Well,
35,000 is not that much money. I'm
I
sorry.
just think a liquor store is too early in the game right now, because I think we're mixed on what we're gonna do for, whether we're gonna have a public works director, whether we're gonna hire additional staff for the public works. We have roads here that are going to hell in a handbasket. I think there's more important things to do, and I understand the revenue perspective of that liquor store, but I think right now, we got more problems in the liquor store to decide. That's just me. But I'm only one person, so.
Al, any thoughts while we're on it?
Well, I don't drink, so it doesn't matter to me either way, I mean. But we do need roads fixed, I know that. Gotta probably
But
make a choice. I know in the future it'd probably be income for the city, but I think right now we should focus on what we have.
so, just a question, so if we take 35,000, that does not do one thing to change what we would have done with the 35,000 or without to improve the roads? Doesn't. The reality is you're just taking 35,000 out of the deal. You're not changing what we're spending on roads either way.
Yeah,
So I think you're tying roads
Well,
into something that,
That general fund, that 35,000 could be used for the new.
you're just saying you're wanting to cut it out, right? Isn't that what you just said?
No, I'm thinking about increasing the general fund a little bit to cover that expenditure.
The
I'm not,
35,000 or something else?
Well, I'm trying to do my numbers here, but I'm not in favor. I mean, we ran that we're gonna keep it taxes low. People say they love how low the taxes are in Baldwin. We banged our chests on that at the incorporation hearing. I am not gonna go around and raise it to 12 point whatever percent. I am not in favor of that. I saw 6 to, we agreed on this number, 6 to 8. I understand the shortage in the general fund, and your concerns with spending the money, but I'm not going that high.
So based on,
I think, the county was 6.5%. I believe they passed their levy was 6.5%. I know other municipalities were high, you know, like.
well, there was a
Osseo.
lot that were way higher than what
But
we're
I-
talking right now, so.
I'm not going that high. I mean, I think, for me, probably 8% is the highest I'll go. General.
Well, how are we gonna do all the things that you wanna do if we don't? If we cut 4% out of here, how are we gonna do all the things that you wanna do with less money?
You're talking about roads, there's no way we're gonna do this.
You know, because you basically, we've taken this from what the true actuals were in 2025, said what we're gonna need with about the same in 2020. We've added a couple of things here, whatever, turned into this number. Now, quite frankly, I'm not into raising taxes either. However, like Mr. Case had already said, the 35,000 for that particular study, whatnot, that's a one-time thing, right? So yes, it's going to wind up going in quite as an addition, whatever, of something general fund. But we're not going to do that every year. We're not going to do a study every year for 30. And when we're having this discussion next November, and nailing in what 28 or 27, I mean, is going to look like. We'll have that discussion. Because the one thing that we see, the one thing that I do see in here is at a $49 increase, then it would be a $9 increase. The only thing I could say is there a way to, you know, average this out just a touch more rather than the 12% to the 1.7? Something that we could do that would lessen the blow at this point in time. And even though we would wind up with shortages or those kind of things, different, you know what I mean, to spread, I don't know that we're gonna get half of it. Certainly aren't going to reduce it 6% this year, I don't. But,
So really what your choices are is if you don't want to see the $49 impact this year, you would either have to not repair your fund balance, your general fund balance, or you would have to cut out expenditures in order to reduce that levy. That's just the way that the math works.
Liz, can you explain the concern of the general fund balance if it is way short in 2026?
There are several concerns. There's the liquidity concern that you are running out of cash. And so I've been working with some small cities where they have under levied for many years, and they have to issue tax anticipation notes, which means that they don't have enough money to float their operations in the middle of the year. So they're running out of cash before they get their property taxes. That's a big danger. The other danger is that when a rating agency looks at this financial management plan, they look at what your reserves are. And we know that in the future, you're going to need to go out to the market to get bonding for streets and for equipment. And so that's the other lens that we need to look at this through, is how are the rating agencies going to view this?
So if the rating agencies look at it that we don't have a decent general fund balance and they raise the bond rate, it's gonna cost us more to do the streets and the roads, which is what you have expressed concerns over there. So we're either figure out this now, get the fund balance correct, or pay more down the road.
Well, this, just looking at the recommended on this sheet here of the, page 2 of the 16, I mean, you got the capital fire at 100,000. I think that should be 50,000. The park fund, yeah, I'll swallow, it's hard for me. We need, you know, 75,000, so that's $65,000 there, and you reduce road and bridge down to, from 500 to 450. That's another 50,000, so that's $115,000. And originally, we had 840, so that's $100,000 difference in the general fund.
But I mean, when you say that though, you do realize if we moved in that direction, just peeled $100,000 out of the road and bridge. I mean, if you do that, I mean, if we do that, move that way, you're peel $100,000 out of the road and bridge. So,
No, part of the general fund is has the road and bridge numbers in there.
yeah, but you said road and bridge.
Well, I said originally, we had 500,000 on the proposed levy. She has 450.
And what you're saying is to peel $100,000 out of it.
No, what I'm saying is, we can take capital fire down, what we originally intended, 50,000, or we had it at 50,000. She has 100,000 here. That's $50,000. And then you have parks, which was, we agreed on 75,000 at the last meeting. It's 90. So that's $65,000 right there. I think if you take and add that to the 840, 400, you're already at, that would be like 905, which is pretty close to 945 she has in there.
Mr. Mayor? I'm willing to drop capital fire down to the 50,000 if we can get this budget passed with the recommended initiatives that are in there. I'm willing to, I think that's something that we can do. If we put the park at 75 and capital fire at 50, that'll give you what, you know, the 85,000, was it? Is that enough of a savings to make it worthwhile?
Plug those numbers
75 on Park, 100.
That'll be 905, 400.
That would drop, yeah, it would drop us to 1,895.
So you only be like $40,000 short from the recommended general fund. But I mean, if road and bridge, you have 450 here. And we had 500,000.
I'm okay with dropping the
Because the general
park
fund's a
to
maintenance.
75 and the capital fire to 50. I don't know about the rest because I'm still concerned about the,
Well, the general fund with the cash flow, yeah. I'm just trying to,
I understand when you're trying to keep the levy low. I just want to make sure that we don't run short of cash next year. That's what I'm concerned about.
so how much of an increase, Liz, would that be then? From our original amount we had of 1,850 or 1,850,044?
Should be 45,000-ish, because it would be 1,895 is what, if you take the, what, 55,000 or 75,000?
I think it was 65.
65? Take 65,000, okay, so it'd be 1,905.44.
And I think our previous budget was 1,757,000 something. I don't have that, or do we have that?
You have it right in this sheet right here where with the chart, and it's in the gray, so, two different places.
That sucks when you need cheaters. I'm just trying to-
increase.
Yeah, there it is. Thank you. Sorry.
Liz, do we have, you're working on the impact?
Yeah, so what happens is, it doesn't move the dial very much, so instead of a $49 impact, it's a $28 impact.
What is the increase in the total tax levy by percentage? Do we have that, or is that?
So it would be 8.39, but really where you should be concentrating is what is the impact on a homeowner, for what are the taxes that they pay?
Right.
Right?
Yeah,
So the taxes paid would go from $588 to $616.
okay.
What was it, 585?
588, it's on the
Oh,
chart right
588.
here, on the bottom of the chart, it's 588. And if you changed it, she said 616?
Yes.
So instead of 637, it'd be 616. So it'd be a $28 increase and approximately an 8% increase.
Yes, so
I know we shouldn't be focusing on that, but that seems to be a focus around.
So if you look at it, so if we take the $637 divided by 12, that's $53 a month that they're paying for city services. So, and if you take the 616 divided by 12, then that's $51. It doesn't really move the dial that much.
Okay.
And then what you're doing then is that if you reduce the levy today, then you have to increase something in the future. It's just the way that it works. So, right, so if we reduce the fire capital levy or the park fund levy, that means that has to get made up sometime.
It'll have to get made up. It'll have to get made up next, it'll have to get.
I'd rather see it in the future being added on.
Well, and I agree we can do that, and I understand that. I think in order to make, just get this through, we do it at 28. Then that still keeps those budget initiatives in there, correct?
Correct.
So that keeps the budget initiatives in there. We get it at 28. Next year, it's not gonna be the real low, I don't remember what that percentage was. Next year, it was the $9 increase. Next year, it's gonna be more than $9, obviously. In order to get the general fund solvent and at
Healthy balance.
recommended levels. So,
So we would be at 1,895,000.
1,905,044.
Yep, 65,000. We took 50 from the fire and then 15 from the park.
And that will take the $49 impact down to 28.
Correct.
Okay, and then that will also do what I was talking about before. It'll reduce that 12 to a smaller number, but to 1.75, which is projected.
we're gonna have to increase in order to make this up at some point. Just to get the general fund back up to where it's supposed to be.
Because the general fund, with that, would have, it would be 905,400, right?
The total levy, it would be the 1,905,044.
Yep,
Oh, yes, correct. We're not changing the general fund
The only,
allocation of the 945.
the only two funds that got changed would be the capital fire and the park fund.
yes. But that money we took, the 65,000,
It reduced the overall levy. And
Yep.
then next year, we're gonna have to revisit and then we'd see if we have to prop those two funds up.
I think it'd be better to do it next year myself.
Well, if this gets us through this meeting and gets this budget figured out and understand the long-term implications and the concern of if something the funding you get that, we get the money in December, and that has to get us through to this increase into July, into June, when we get that first part of the 2026 money. We just have to be aware of that and watch what we're spending through that, because that is a concern, and see where we're at. And stay in the budgets and stay below the 50% level of the yearly budget, because that's where it's gonna pop up.
Hence why coding all the expenditures.
Better
where we
idea.
are in all of our fund levels.
And I've been working on that, so.
Are we golden?
I'm just trying to drive this meeting.
Yep, are we prepared to, propose this levy then? Is that what
As
we're at?
we have a discussed proposed levy.
Yeah, we're discussed it.
At this point in time, I think as close as we can be to put 1,900,000.
Onto the truth in taxation.
Then would be, that's gonna change your recommendation.
Yes.
Do we want a different recommendation memo, or do we want to? I mean, I think we pretty much.
You mean this one?
Yeah, so,
It is gonna change that.
I don't know if we need to, I don't know if we really need to change that.
Just pop in those two numbers and,
Two numbers.
right, and that would
yeah,
change the levy. So on the recommendation level memo, it's gonna be 1,905,44.
Yep.
044, and 75,000 and 50,000. Otherwise, everything else should stay the same, and the rest of and the impact is gonna be $28.
Correct.
So, other than those couple things on here, the memo should be pretty correct.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if
You want to take his markup sheet?
If that is the consensus, then that's what I will build the
Gentlemen?
truth and taxation numbers around. And then what we're required to do is to hold the truth and taxation hearing, and then after the hearing is closed, that's when you would adopt the levy in the budget.
Okay.
Correct.
I'm in agreement with that.
My recommendation, though, is as we're having this open truth and taxation, we should tell them what we started with and the things that we did to get this down to something bearable of the
Absolutely.
$28. Yep. So,
Yes, I will tell that story.
huh?
I will tell that story.
Okay, I appreciate everything you do there, Liz.
The old crab patties over here, I don't care what you.
That rush.
And then make sure that you have that, like.
Feel the rush, everybody.
He likes that one sheet, overview of the money.
Oh, yeah, because
We're used to seeing
for
that.
18 years, the people saw this. You know what I mean? Those that are gonna come here that
It's gonna be what the,
are looking to probably see this in detail on.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So, and literally, I think that, if they don't need to be an accountant,
so,
anything else you need from us?
No.
so would we put this on, will we wait till after the December 1st to approve this then?
Oh, that's
It'll
that's
get approved December 1st.
after we talk about it.
Oh, got it, okay.
With these numbers that we have now decided on.
Got it, okay. Thanks for
Yeah.
So
clarification.
that there's kind of no turning back now.
No, I'm good.
So this will change.
The expenditure side won't change, the revenue side will change.
Because we have to have this done December,
Yes, because then it has to be
to the county
to the
by,
county, and I don't remember what day. Yeah,
okay. Okay, so we can't delay on this, it needs to be done December 1st. So,
Well, and we've already set the truth in taxation.
right, right.
That shows up on the truth and tax notices.
Yes.
So yeah, so I, like Scott mentioned earlier, we started at 23%. And I think we reduced it to 15. And it was down to like 6.5, but after hearing the general fund discussion about the importance of it, it looks like it's about 8.3
I think
overall.
what else is really important too is what we spend, you know.
Well, I would hope not.
Okay, Joan, anything else that you wanted to say? Okay, if that's the case, we're at the end of what we can do. I think ultimately what happened here is, as a township, the way we did things, if we were still a township, we would have already had 26
Done.
figured and done.
Yeah.
We would be presenting to the people what we thought we were gonna need.
No.
So this job, even though it got, I'm gonna say, muddied because of code changes and auditor that wanted to see things different way to express things, and the need now, even more so, to bolster the general. Kind of took us all aback a little bit because all of the road and bridge wages came. Now they're not. Now they're coming to where only the now that we got it, this should be pretty simple. Literally, we're gonna look.
forward, yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna look at this sheet. That's gonna drive if we wanna add anything else and do anything more. Right now, we have now penned ourselves into, we're not gonna do anything more next year than what we did this year. So for future planning and trying to think out 5 years, not necessarily the best way to go about thinking about.
We need we need to update CIPs so we understand where the big ticket items are popping in.
And so, anyway, but I will get through it now, and we'll live through it, and we'll do. Anything else, gentlemen, on the proposed levy? Not, then I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
I'll second it.
Moved in second. Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same sign. Motion carries. We are adjourned at 7:44. Thank you, Liz.
Yep, thanks, Liz.
for all you have done.
Oh, welcome.
Mr. Mayor, can I say something now?
You may.
Another strategy you could have used, hiring